Our next panel member is Sean Gerrity, President of the American Prairie Foundation.
Hi, everybody. Congressman Rehberg, thanks very much for inviting us to APF to have a chance to be on the panel. Appreciate it very much. When I found out a couple of days ago I was going to be on this panel, I saw the request was to come and state whether you're for the monument or against the monument, and then explain why. So what I want to say is, I'm not ready to say whether I'm for it or against it yet, for a number of reasons, because I haven't seen an actual proposal. I've read all the documents. I've been to Washington, D.C. 6 times this year. I've talked to a lot of interior people. I have not seen an actual proposal that actually shows a monument that has articulated features in a particular geographic area. I've been in business for 30 years, and I know how to read a business plan. I know how to read a proposal, and I've not seen a proposal. So I can't say yes or no yet. I will when a proposal shows up. I'm an opinionated person. I'll have an opinion. I could be for it when it comes along. I mean, I'm not going to say I could be against it if it negatively impacts what APF wants to do as a business. My responsibility is to drive the mission of the project that I lead. If it gets in the way of that, I'm not going to be for this monument. I could be for it if it looks like APF can continue doing what it wants to do, and it doesn't get in the way of what we're trying to do, and it doesn't impact our neighbors. Whether people believe it or not, we do care about our neighbors. We interact with them a lot. We lease to 11 different neighbors on our 121,000 acres. We interact with a lot of our neighbors. Thanks. I think an important point for me when I think about do I want to say yes or no to a monument proposal is I've got to take into account APF is intricately tied with the federal government, just our probably 70 to 80% of the people sitting here. What I mean by that is APF enjoys grazing privileges on 83,000 BLM acres at 1/20th of the fair market price. And I know what fair market price is because when we buy a property, our phone rings off the hook. And our neighbors are willing to pay $18 to $20 in AUM gladly. Those that don't get the contract because we can only pick one are unhappy. They were perfectly willing to pay 18 to 20 bucks. And yet we pay $1.43 on our BLM. It's extraordinary, the subsidy afforded by the taxpayers to us to keep APF's business running. People who are around us also enjoy the same thing. You know how this works. People have subsidized crop insurance. You'd pay far more if you paid privately. People get tens of thousands of dollars a year, many of our neighbors, in conservation reserve program payments for doing nothing, essentially. And they also have tens of thousands of acres like us where they get at an extraordinary reduced price as compared to the free market. Now, I worked as a business consultant. I grew up in Great Falls. I went to MSU. My first job for about 20 years took me all around the world, in Asia, Europe, North America. And I coached businesses on how to make their businesses go better. And that was all for profit, by the way. I'm very new to the nonprofit world. If you want to stay after, I can give you my compare and contrast, 20 years in for-profit, a very few years in nonprofit. And my travels around the world, I never have seen anything that is subsidized like this industry, the industry I'm in. All right? We have bison, which, whether you like it or not, are classified as livestock. The subsidies are unbelievable. We enjoy those. Given that you, me, are tied with the federal government, unless you want to relinquish all those rights, it seems to me we owe them a fair hearing once a real proposal shows up, since they're being very generous with us as we sit right now. I appreciate that generosity. It saves us thousands and thousands of dollars a year because we get to graze on those lands at taxpayer expense. Denny had a really good comment. I think he attributed it to Ronald Reagan. Trust but verify. Started hearing about this treasured landscape thing last spring, I believe it was. I got invited to something called the White House Conference on the Great Outdoors or something like that. So I went back to D.C., with a lot of ranchers from Montana, by the way, and ranchers from all over the United States. And we got to spend time in the Interior Department. We're supposed to be representative of people who work on the landscape. And I got to meet Mr. Salazar, got to meet Mr. Bob Abbey, listen to them talk, hear them take questions, and sit in small groups and listen to what they are looking at in the next however many years with the Interior. I found them genuine people, and I have no reason to distrust them. I got to ask them questions myself. So the trust but verify thing makes perfect sense. I think Denny's got a really good point. If a monument's going to be proposed to this area, they should come out, lay it out, show all the features, put it out in the light of day. When they're ready to do that, I don't get the impression they're ready to do that. Again, I've read everything. I don't see a proposal yet. I think that's about it. I'm glad to take questions. There are quite a few questions thrown out. Matt had some, and Ron and others. Very, very justifiable questions. I'm glad to take those on the panel or afterwards. But again, I'm not trying to dodge the question. Am I in support, or is APF in support of a monument or not? I think it's far too early to decide. Okay? Thank you very much. Thanks again, Denny, for letting me do this.